Subscribe to our YouTube channel for in-depth interviews of India Inc. and press the bell icon so that you do not miss our updates.
Hello and welcome to Nirmal, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Hiral Dadia. We have with us Mohan Joshi, ED, Commercial Steel Strip Wheels, joining in. Welcome to the show, Mohan, and it's a pleasure to speak to you once again. My first question coming to you is, we have been talking of signs of revival that are seen in a lot of sectors right now. Uh, the impact with regards to by COVID on the minds of the people is somewhere which is easing out right now. And clearly, if we see the September quarter numbers for steel strip wheels as well, on a sequential basis, we've more than doubled directly. And on a year on year basis as well, we've seen some growth. How would you really define the transition between the two quarters?
Thanks a lot for having me. And I would like to say that for the quarter two, which was starting from July, August, September, every month saw a close to 100% growth in terms of revenue, in terms of profitability, simply from the fact that every unlock was adding up some of the demand. And now post September, I think most of the country is open. And I expect that we have already reached close to the top 3 months of our sales in the month of September. And we are running out of capacities in some of the segments in terms of the demand, which is led by some of the factor which is being driven by the festive side. But some of the factor is also being governed by this personal mobility factor, which is being pushed to move for work, move for your daily course. And I think this is going to be the current theme, which is going to continue for at least 6-8 months when this pent-up demand is going to be met by the suppliers by running extra. And maybe by 6 months or so, you will see this continuous surge coming in. The other part which has helped us is the lesser impact on the exports. So we have reported highest ever exports in the month of September. And we did close to 2.2 million wheels last year. And we are already running at close to 4 million rate in terms of the export demand, led by huge surge from coming in from the US and Europe as well. So I hope that this is going to continue, and we don't see a large amount of disruption coming in from the perspective of lockdowns or something of that sort. And the lesser amount of mortality rate will continue to gain trust in the minds of people to go out and do their regular spending and let the GDP kick in and continue to move forward in a strong manner.
Right. So with all of this, if you could just help me understand, clearly in terms of, growth, yes, as you mentioned, the up move has been positive for majority of the companies. An interesting fact was when we spoke last time as well, Mohan, it was the tractor segment that was really resilient with regards to COVID. Now, if you have to look at, the other segments of business as well, have they been catching up at the same speed? Or are you seeing, a marginal up move that's coming in?
Yes, so tractor basically based on this record amount of harvest as well as good rainfalls, good MSPs, and government really focusing on this rural income is definitely working really, really good. And tractor is still running at all-time highs in the historic pace. And I think that it is going to continue for next 6 months with the backlog of tractor and the lean inventories at dealers' end. Maybe it is at 1 week's time, maybe 10 days inventory. So they're extremely lean, and I expect this to be continuing very, very hard. I think on the other side, the passenger side has now caught up, specifically into the segments of below 5 lakhs, below 6 lakh cars, where the waiting period is now coming in. And you have this personal mobility factor playing in, and players like Maruti, players like Hyundai have reached almost 2018-19 peaks in terms of production, and there's a large surge which is now being visible over past, say, 45 days or so. What I expect is that they will be, Maruti running at 1,40,000, 1,50,000 is definitely a clear sign that the industry is higher than the pre-COVID level. Maybe they are at almost at the levels where we worked at good times in 2018-19.
Okay.
So I'm happy to say that this segment has come to that level. Yes, I would not say that everything is hunky-dory. A lot of
Hmm.
that is with pent-up demand. A lot of that has to do with a lot of people coming out and saying that, okay, I might have to not travel by a metro. I might not have to travel with the carpool, but maybe I have to travel on my own. But given the fact that India has a large population of working in that segment, I think it has a lot of leg to catch up. And going forward, I feel this is going to be the clear kicker in terms of demand, specifically below 5 to 6 lakhs. On the two-wheeler side also, there's a decent demand, but I think that's where we are still not seeing the kind of wild horses running,
Hmm.
and it is still continuing at a good pace. I would not say that they are running at a 20% YY growth, but yes, they have come to a growth phase wherein they're working at 5, 7, 8% on a higher base, and it is continuing. The laggard, which I told last time also, what truck segment. Uh,
Hmm.
Fortunately, something has happened over past 20 days, 25 days.
Okay.
The truck segment has gone to the good days of 1920, where
Okay.
they started picking up, and I think it is easing up of the monies from the state government towards infrastructure projects.
Hmm. Hmm.
Something of that sort has happened, that Ashok Leyland, Tata Motors schedules have started moving up. Although they are still working at close to 65-70% utilization from our end, but it is way better than 45-50 that we were working in pre-COVID levels.
Right. And that's interesting because when we see the segment wise volume mix as well, clearly two wheelers, car MUVs, tractors, all of them have seen a growth if I have to compare that to FY19 right now. However, one segment that has seen a degrowth with regards to the volume mix is the truck and OTR, as you already mentioned. Are you seeing this mix change by the end of the year?
100%. I think the way that we are seeing right now is the precursor that the truck segment gets a little bit of early signs coming in from the excavators. So like
Hmm.
JCB, which is running at all-time highs now.
Hmm.
So I think in 1819, JCB was running at close to 5,000 machines for a few months, and then they dropped almost 50% from there, wherein JCB is now already running at 5,000 plus machines. So the precursor has set up, and I think over the next 2 months or so, you will see that reflection coming onto the truck segment also. And I feel that by this financial year end, with all means that the data is visible to us, I think it is definitely going to be better than what we have seen over past 2 years. And we may end up the last quarter at almost record highs that we have touched in 2018-19 mid, which was that's when the ILFS crisis started happening. And I think that's the only missing link in the automobile story. And I feel they'll be very, very close to those levels, backed by a few steps taken up by the government. I think scrappage policy is still out of the picture. It is told
Hmm.
will not come in. That is going to be an additional trigger however it comes in. And if that comes in, then obviously it's going to be an additional kicker for this segment.
Right. And with this, if you have to look at the export business as well, taking your presence into consideration, which are the regions which are really picking up well? Because we still know that US is still struggling with COVID. The European Union is still struggling with COVID. So where are you seeing highest chances of revival and the performance has been spectacular?
I think in Europe and US, the good thing which is happening is that these both continents have a lot of spend on their traveling.
Hmm.
There are a lot of holidaying, and there is a lot of traveling across the continent as a habit that they have it. And in this COVID time, this amount of spending is not going into that segment where they used to spend for years. That money is now getting converted into cars, in terms of recreational vehicles. And that's why US has been running very, very hard in terms of these automobile production. And we are seeing extreme demand coming in from the perspective that people don't want to take it from China. That is first, obviously. The second factor is that, yes, that spending which was going for a holiday to Switzerland or a holiday to Germany is stuck in your bank account. And now what to do? Either you get into something else where you can spend this money. So a lot of this spending is getting converted into recreational activity, and that's where I think amongst the two continents, US is going to be the first market where revival is very, very hard, and we are seeing that the growth is very, very rapid and catching up. And as I said, that On the export side, we did close to 2.2 million wheels last year. I think this year we are already running at 4 million pace. And the target for this financial year is that we should end this year at close to 50% higher than last year. So 3.5, 3.6 million in total, with first 2 months of washout is going to happen this year. And it is predominantly driven by large orders coming from the US side, which is on the both side of the continents. So I feel the American story is far stronger as compared to the European story. European story has been very stable right now, and it's been very, very quiet. And the growth rate is maybe 7 to 10%. But in US, every month the growth is maybe 20% plus than the last month. I think that is going to continue for at least next 4 or 5 months till the time we stabilize and we run out of the export capacity. So we are taking full advantage of this China story and hatred. And India as a country has got a lot of benefit coming in from this factor. And I think other sectors are also benefiting out of this.
Right. So with this, if you have to look at full year FY21 performance, how would you look at that? Because what's happened is, again, FY19-20 itself as well, we have seen good growth coming in. Taking the current up move, the current order book into consideration, do you think we will be able to hit that run rate of, say, 30% plus growth in terms of the top line, say around 8 to 10% in terms of where profitability goes?
Yeah, so for 1920, we did close to 1,550 crores worth of top line. And, for first 3 months of washout, we thought that we are going to be not very far from the last year's top line. So as the estimates that we are going in right now, we are already running at almost 200 crores kind of a net turnover every month starting October. And I feel that we are going to be finishing at less than 5%, 7% degrowth than the last year in year 2021. And next year, it is going to be close to 40% top line growth in terms of the new capacity that we have set up. Mehsana running at almost 100% utilization right now. And added capacity will also be sold out. So next financial year, we feel that first we are going to add up close to 150 to 200 basis point addition on the EBITDA. We are already working for the Q2. We worked at close to 13.5 odd percent. We anticipate that for the next financial year, we are going to be working at close to 15 or 15.5% EBITDA. And that is what is going to be the material change for us. On the top line, I think we are going to be reaching close to 2,100 crores to 2,200 crores of the top line. And on the bottom line, I think we will double or maybe more than double the bottom line with the incremental money coming in from these additional capacities. So the target is that we may report extremely, I think, all-time best EBITDA margins for year 21-22. Which may range between 15 plus to 15.5%.
Right. And then with this, with regards to alloy wheels as well, how is the demand and the sales scenario looking like?
We have a capacity of close to 1.5 million. And at the rate of September, we are already running at 100% utilization. And all the localization which is planned with Hyundai or Kia is on stream, and I think their 100% localization will be implemented by January, February, March quarter. And we have added capacity a little bit on the bottleneck machines, and we expect this capacity to reach to 2.4 million by Q4 of this year. And the entire capacity will be sold out within the same quarter with the help of the order book. So what I feel is that in the last quarter of this financial year, we should reach closer to 750 to 800 crores worth of run rate in terms of monthly run rate, which is going to be the turnover for next financial year. And demand is extremely good, wherein the penetration of alloy wheel has moved up 10-15% higher than the last year. And the good factor is that with this lightweighting into focus, a lot of aluminum is being taken up into the cars. So I feel that going forward, aluminum may take up the mid-tier segment cars also, and you may see a 20% take rate on YOY growth on the aluminum wheel side, on the base that we are going to be setting up in year 1920, 2021.
Right. So taking this into consideration right now, in terms of overall business as well, do we see the revenue mix between exports and domestic markets changing?
Yes. So last time also I said that we were at close to 10 to 12% of
Mm,
the revenue coming in from the exports as a trend for past maybe 5 7 years. And what we see that because of this US participation coming in, we are anticipating the export revenue to reach closer to 370 to 400 crores out of this 2100 to 2200 crores kind of a revenue in 21-22. So this 12-13% will very, very closely be monitored to take up to 19 to 20% of the revenue coming from the exports, which is at a higher delta of EBITDA and which works as close to 22-23% of EBITDA. So we feel that we have caught a right bus to US, and this will definitely be reaching high 20s, maybe 21-22% of the top line
mm.
in 21-22.
Right. And overall, any other trend that you're witnessing with regards to business in the auto space right now? Taking, I mean, I do understand that everything has gone up right now. Probably it could be pent up demand as well, because what's happening is there is a slight disconnect between the wholesale numbers and the retail numbers that we pick up as well.
So I tell you, this time, what is the difference is that the Shraddh and 1 month of non-take vehicle period has extended the Shraddhs for not 25 days, but for 45 days. That's a
Hmm, hmm,
trend. So those things are opening from 15th or 17th of October. But it is very encouraging that during this time, we have already reached 197,000 worth of sale, knowing that it's a very, very dull period. So what I
hmm,
feel is that from with the feedback that we are getting from all the customers, I think the daily rate of sale
hmm.
post 15th is going to reach close to 15,000, 15,000 on
Okay.
working day basis. So they're anticipating that towards Diwali, the inventory levels, which has gone up to 8 9 weeks now, will fall
Hmm,
down further, and they will come down to normalized level of 3 to 4 weeks. And the trends are very, very good.
hmm,
The indications are very good, backed by a lot of money which has gone to the rural side. The drop in the interest rate cost for the borrowing. Plus, I think this pent-up demand will ensure that you don't have too much of inventory left beyond Diwali, and you are worried a lot that, okay, I have to cut a production of 20-30%.
hmm.
What they anticipate is, yes, they have done extremely good production in the month of September and October. There will be a 5-7% drop to adjust the inventories, but the trend is very strong, and the undercurrent which is being given by the marketing side is very, very strong going forward for next 6 to 8 months.
Right. And very lastly, with regards to capacity utilization, if you have to look at blended basis across plants, where does that stand right now?
So if I talk about plant-wise, because it will not be fair to talk each plant,
Correct, correct.
in cumulative manner. I think in plant-wise, I think our Dapat plant, which is in Punjab, is running at 100% utilization.
Hmm.
From Mehsana, it is running at 100% utilization. Chennai plant is working at close to 100% utilization, maybe 95-97%. And in Jamshedpur, which is a commercial vehicle plant, is running at close to 65-70% utilization as we speak.
Yeah, Mohan, you're there? I
Yeah,
think it just got
I
stuck.
think
Yeah.
it
And,
got stuck in between.
right. And overall, very lastly, apart from the capacity utilization as well, Mohan, uh, clearly, if you go to see any expansion plans from here on, how much are you looking to put in, invest right now in the current financial year?
So in the current financial year, the investment is going from 25 to 35 crores only to take up the capacity from 1.3, 1.4 lakh in Mehsana to 1.6, 1.7 lakhs. And in the next financial year, it is going to be additional 70-80 crores, which is going to generate close to 500 crores worth of additional turnover. So asset turn is going to be at close to 3.5 to 4 times. So over this financial year, next financial year, I think the total monies that we are going to spend is close to 140 odd crores, 150 odd crores.
Right. All right, Mohan. Thank you so much for sharing those insights with regards to the quarter, how it has been, and hoping that it continues in this fashion itself as well. Thank you so much for joining in and stay safe. And we'll see you back soon again.
Thank you.